With a knick-knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Why don't sit
go home?
Hello and welcome to All for United with me, Rusty, for the good, the bad and the ugly. It's the show with 3 questions, 3 topics, and we expect all the guests and all the people in the comments to join in. So hello, if you are in the comments, let's make sure I get that little bar. How are we doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah, man, it's good to be back on it.
Sorry, it always seems to me that we all hop on top of each other. So, like, I tried to give a bit of space before I jumped in, and then we all just still jumped in at the same time.
You all had the same idea then, didn't you? And it was just an awkward silence instead.
That's it. That's exactly what happened. It's good to be back on here, though, after the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, that was great. That was great.
It was a good show, that man. Yeah. We'll try the same again tonight. Hello, everybody. Hello, John. Hello, Filmy Smadge. How are you doing, mate? That sounds like I won't even go there.
Yeah.
Lovely name, mate. Right, so it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's something good about United, something bad about United, and something ugly either about United or the world of football. I can't even remember what the topics are this week. Let me just check my phone because I'm never professional like that. You know what I mean? So the good this week is something.
I love this show.
What's that for, Liz? Oh, I've removed it.
I was saying this is why I love. This is why I love this show. You know what I mean? You can't remember the topics. I love it. It's great, but it's a great start. This is why I love it.
We never know where it's going, mate. You know what I mean? We're winging it.
Here, Flawless, if you love forgetfulness, you should hang out in an Alzheimer's clinic. Like, you would love it there.
We're going for the Alzheimer jokes, and we're only 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
That's a goodie, though. I can't lie. It's a bad joke, but it's good. Yeah, I can't lie. It's good.
It's an awful joke, and ironically, I want to forget it.
Oh, we're on a roll here, lads. We're on a roll. Let's not even talk about football. Let's just be horrendous for the next 40 minutes.
That's fine by me. I can do that. But I think some of the people in the comments would like to talk about Man United rather than just watch like our kind of backwards Zoom meeting as it's turned into. So this week, I think a positive to take from Manchester United, and if you agree in the comments, let me know, is Donny van de Beek. I think he's only played a couple of games. 3 of you include the friendly against Aston Villa, but I think he's already showing his class. He's showing what kind of mentality he's got as well, what kind of thinking man he is on the football pitch. He always seems aware, on his toes. It's like a game of chess for him, if you will. And like he's an expert at the game, and he just reads where the pawn's going, where the bishop's going. He kind of knows where everything is at any one time, which is a beautiful thing to do when you can read the game like that. That's what I think anyway about Van de Beek. Flawless, mate, what's your take on Van de Beek? Are you as excited as me and the people on social media, or are you a bit cautious still?
Nah, extremely. Like I said, when he came on against Crystal Palace, and let's keep it 1,000. Everybody was terrible. All the outfield players were terrible. So for him to come on and have the impact and play well and just be a bright spark, you can see already how intelligent he is. Like you said there, the roles picked, the way he plays passes, he always plays the right way on passes. And even yesterday against Luton, you seen how him and Juan Mata linked up a lot of the times, and they were our brightest players because I tweeted this out. Technical ballers recognize technical ballers, and you could see how he improves the players. That's a sign of a very good player as well. So yeah, we have a lot to be excited about regarding him, because it looks like we've got a great player, a great age, and a great price as well. And he seems like he can play. To me, it looks like he could play a 10, play an 8, and he could probably play a 6 as well. And I think he'll score a lot of goals. So yeah, like I think there's a reason that social media and United fans were getting gassed about Donny van de Beek, because I think he's quality and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, of course he's only going to get better as well. For definite. I like what you said there. Technical ballers, no technical ballers like Mata and Van de Beek working alongside each other. But it also makes me think of Paul Scholes. Yeah. He's probably like. If we've ever had a player like Paul Scholes, since Paul Scholes retired, it's going to be Van de Beek. Them late, dangerous runs coming into the box are just absolutely beautiful. They're very Scholes-esque. Yeah. I'd love it if Scholes Scholes must be able to see himself in Van der Beek. And I'd love it if he just like goes down to Old Trafford sometime, has a word in his ear, says, yeah, I'll do this, do that. And I know it's not his role to do, he's not a coach, but just like in my little fantasy world, that's what I expect Scholes is going to do. I'll come to you next, James. How are you feeling about Mr. Van der Beek?
I'm very happy with what I've seen so far. I think his game's a bit hard to get your head around because it's not really something you see at United. He's like the perfect box-to-box midfielder with all his darting runs about around the pitch, tracking back. But then he's also an incredible creator and he's absolutely lethal in the box as well. So, you know, it's just you can't get your head around how perfect of an attacking player he is so far. Anyway, I know it's only Luton, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah, I think first man of the match, they were saying as well, United gave him the man of the match. So hopefully he can have a similar impact to Bruno. But I think now that we've seen Bruno sort of dropping off a little bit, I think he's not been as effective. I don't think that'll happen with Van der Beek because he's already got that sort of athleticism and stamina and strength that Bruno doesn't quite possess. And I think that'll set him really well in the English game. So yeah, really good sign so far. Yeah,
they saying about his stamina, it's absolutely fantastic. I've always found it something that's instilled and grown into players from the Ajax Academy. They're absolute machines. They can just run and they can run and they can run. And the difference, I suppose, with him and Bruno is you kind of feel that when Van der Beek steps onto the pitch, although every game's different, he's got his mentality ready. He knows what he's going to do in that game. If you can understand where he comes from, where Bruno's a bit of a chance taker, you know what I mean? He is going to be the guy whose every ball doesn't meet its desired destination because he will take chances to try and get us on that front foot as soon as possible. So he will make mistakes. Whereas Van der Beek, I think, is more like a safe bet. As creative as he is, he's a safe bet when it comes to his game. Acting Joe, who's just been on Tinder. He's just been on Tinder, matched with a lovely lass called Anastasia. Rumours are that she's ghosted him already.
No, she's hanging in there. She's you know, and she has a she has a similar contempt for the Brits as I do, so it's all going great. But for Van der Beek, myself and Anastasia were just discussing there. Yeah, look, I think it's far too early to really say anything about him. I think he's starting off well. I really like him. I really like he gives 100%. Hey, Mark, great to see you. He gives 100%, and he seemed to have the never say die attitude. But again, 20 minutes against Crystal Palace and a full match against Luton. I don't think he came off. It won't give me too much. You know, I need to see 6 or 7 games in a row with him playing to see how really he adapts to the Premier League. Because my worry is, I know we're not going to talk about the fucking transfer policy, is that we've bought a player who hopefully will be exceptional. There's a lot of things going forward, who knows. But we've got 2 players in his position already. So we're literally going to this new season with a great player on the bench, but that's all we've got. I hope he goes on and has an incredible career with us. And everything looks like he will. But my only worry is as well, and I've been thinking about this all day, is that if we don't start playing the right football soon, players like Donny will be gone in 2 years' time to Real Madrid. And all we'll have is a nice, we'll get a nice fee from it. So the whole club needs to change, or else these dynamic players that are coming through are going to fuck off and the Glazers will stay.
I think you are right, Joe. I was thinking about this. I'm quite an optimist, but I was like proper like led in bed the other night. I think it was after the Palace game. I was feeling like shit, just embarrassed about what I watched. And I thought in my head, like this Van der Beek looks good. What happens in like 2 years' time if we don't like buy the players to improve the team? Players like him, just fuck off. You know what I mean? They might go off like 100 million by then, and that's all we're getting for it. Well, I don't want that. I want this to be, like I say it most years, I want to start to be a new revolution, you know, a new era at Old Trafford. So let's just see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, in the comments, join in, please. Hit the like button. If you're on Periscope and Twitch, lovely. But jump across to YouTube if you want. Subscribe. Join in the chat with everybody else. The question for the good this week is, obviously, Van der Beek looks promising. He looks exciting. And it's always nice when a player like that comes into Old Trafford and, you know, gets your adrenaline running, gets the juices flowing. But who for you guys has been that player in the past that you've seen and gone, this guy's going to be an amazing talent, whether he finally produced on that talent or not? I'll come to you first, James.
I think just recency bias. I think ever since his debut, there's been flashes from Martial where you think that this he can be world class. He really can. Whether he's delivered on it or not is very debatable. He's still relatively hit and miss in my opinion. You know, he has incredible games and then he has very quiet games, but it's hard to say really. It's quite hard to get excited about a United player in the last couple of years, isn't it? And I think I remember watching Nick Powell a couple of times when he signed when I was only young, and I think he was one that was a young English lad that we bought up. So I wanted him to do well. So I was pretty excited to watch him play, but obviously we know how that ended. So yeah, sorry to be a bit depressing, but I'd probably go for them too, just because I can't really think of many other examples.
No, do you know what? I never thought about Nick Powell. That's a good shout. I remember him turning up at Old Trafford and Fergie raving about him. We got him he came through Dario Gradi, didn't he, at Crew Alexandra? And he looked like an absolute baller, man. And he needed to screamer, didn't he, in one of his first couple of games?
He scored against Wigan, and so did Butner, and someone else scored one of their only goals for United in that game.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to go
on taking him back
as well, James. That's a massive shout, that, mate. But yeah, sadly, I don't even know where he's at now. Does anybody know where James Powell is? Doncaster, living the dream, mate.
My cousin hates him. Absolutely hates him. My cousin Jack is formerly a United supporter, but as of the last 10 years, he's a season ticket holder for Cheltenham. And Cheltenham lost to Crew Alexander in the League Two playoff in 2011, 2012, or 2012, 2013. And Nick Powell scored one and set up the other. And then the following day, he signed for United. And I remember him saying to me that if he could end up winning everything for England and everything when he grows up, but he doesn't give a shit. He'll always be the prick that kept Cheltenham down. And so for that, he gives me a bit of joy to bring up his name every so often, a family occasion. But I would say the player that I remember seeing that brought immediately, and this is kind of a different aspect because I'm going to the opposite in the age road, who didn't let me down and kind of went to show United as a football club what it was meant to have a really strong leader, one we hadn't had in years beforehand. I'd seen this player play live at the European Championships against Ireland with the same cousin, and he was utterly unimpressive, but it's Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Right.
When it's kind of, because I was thinking about Martial and stuff like that, but then I was Martial kind of trailed off for a couple of seasons. But with Ibrahimovic, for that one season we had him, we had that goal scorer, we had that leader, and we had that presence on the pitch that just him alone, we felt that he'd get him the ball and he'd win the game for us. And I remember him being interviewed and him dragging, remember that one with Sky Sports, I think with Gary Neville, and he dragged Paul Pogba in, and he could just tell. And I remember a celebration I loved when we beat Blackburn in the FA Cup. He came on and we were I think it was 0-0 or it was 1-0 or something like that, and he scored immediately. And instead of celebrating, you can watch this. I love it so much. He gathered all the players around and he gave out to them. He pointed at them and he gave out to them individually for him to come on to save the game rather than them taking care of themselves. So he's a once in a lifetime sort of leader, and it's just unfortunate for that fucking game against San Etienne when we're already through and he bursted his cruciate. That obviously he couldn't have stayed on for years and years and years, but another year or two, who knows? It was a shame it went that way because he was the crux for that team, and then Mourinho went afterwards.
Yeah. It was a shame. It's a different kind of player, really, mate. I thought people would go for youngsters academy, but it's a great point. You know what I mean? Everybody did get excited when Ibrahimovic came. We knew what he was about, obviously.
Yeah. But the fact he did it as well, the fact that he came for free, but on a huge wage and a huge reputation around the world after coming from France, where everyone's oh, it doesn't fucking matter, he's past it. And he ended up scoring more goals for us in that season. I think 28 goals he scored for us that season, which is the most.
Right, yeah.
And that's something we were hugely missing. And he brought back to the club a thing of just stand up and fight, which I felt, and he was a leader. He was a bona fide leader, which is something that we haven't had in a long time as well. So that's why I was thinking I wanted to go a bit different with the choice.
Well, you are different, mate. So you know
what
I mean.
Different. I am different.
Don't change habits for lifetime. Always, mate. How are we feeling? Who's that one player that's kind of give you goosebumps and thought, here we go?
You know what? Again, recency bias. It would have to be Greenwood. It would have to be Greenwood. Because the thing is, I got a younger cousin of mine who like watches the academy closely. And he was telling me about Mason Greenwood like 2 years ago. And he was like, Mason Greenwood's on point. He's the guy. Trust me. Wait, he should be playing already. Wait till you see him. Then he burst onto the scene. And what can't he do? 2-footed, which is rare. Like that sets him alight already. Shoots early. Always seems to hit the target. Quick as well. Lightning quick. I think yesterday there was a run we had and he's showing off his pace. And remember the goal we scored against Brighton last season on the counter attack? And he ran down, he ran down the wing for it. He was running so fast at first, I thought it was Rashford. And I was like, wow, Greenwood's that quick. His hold-up play as well is phenomenal. Even though it was Luton yesterday, his hold-up play for Rashford's goal, like, that's smart. That's awareness. And adding to the as well, he's playing out of position because he's not a wide player. And he is outshining or shining as much as your Martials and your Rashfords. So it's like, he plays like he's much older than he is. People forget that he's still a kid, that we have expectations on him like he's 24, 25. And he's like, right, he's going to have off days. To me, he's just quality all around. That's the player I look at. And I'm like, people have already spoke about what goal scoring records could he break. So, yeah, it's definitely Mason Greenwood. Every time he gets the ball, I expect him to do something. Like, I have such a high expectation of him because he is that good.
That's it, man. And honestly, every time you get Greenwood, I would love to be at Old Trafford. I would love to be around like 75,000 United fans when Greenwood gets the ball and just that, like the uproar, like, fucking, you know what I mean? You think something's going to happen every time. He's just a class player and he's broke onto the team. And that's a good point you said about him holding the ball up last night. That's a new part of his play. And if he pokes up a bit more as well, like, eventually you can see him being just a complete number 9, you know.
Yeah, so he's done that as well. During lockdown, he did that as well. Like when we came after lockdown, he had bulked up. But people forget he's still grown. What is he, like 19? So it's like, how much better could he get? And especially if we get better players around him, then we get a better manager around him, better system around him, and then we can see where he can go from there. Like, he's thriving in a team that's struggling. So imagine what he could do in a team that's playing well and flying. It goes to show.
Mate, yeah, he's thriving in a team that's struggling. That says a lot there, doesn't it? My man is, I'm going for Marcus Rashford, because when he burst onto the scene under LVG, it was like totally unexpected. We'd heard rumours that this kid was good, you know, that this lad might break through in the next couple of years, but he broke through earlier than expected, and he took his chance. Nobody had before, scoring in Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup debuts. He just loves, he loves a debut goal in any competition. He was just, for me, Marcus Rashford, when I saw him, I just thought, come on, I hope we've got an academy full of Marcus Rashfords coming through. And obviously now Greenwood's come through, Brandon Williams coming through. We have got some great academy players. Obviously, a few of them have gone out on loan, like Garner, and is Laird gone out on loan as well? Not sure.
Mengi coming through as well.
Rashford, for me, just set the place on fire and got everybody excited again, got a bit of hunger back in our bellies, woke up the team as well, because it was lacking in creativity, lacking in a superstar, lacking in somebody who'd go out, grab the game by the scruff of the neck and do something spectacular. That's what Rashford did.
I remember my favorite fun fact about the Rashford thing is that when he scored twice against Midtjylland, he wasn't actually supposed to start that game. He was on the bench, but Will Keane got injured, I think, in the warm-up. And because he was injured, Rashford got promoted to the first team. So, he went from literally, never even going to make his debut, that he might have got 10 minutes at the end, to actually starting that game and then scoring twice. And then from that, getting the Arsenal game and getting the City game and everything afterwards. So if Will Keane didn't get injured, who knows? And then look at where Will Keane is now. Who knows what could have happened to him if he got that chance. But, it's just a game of fine margins.
It is fine margins, isn't it? And I think Rashford would have got his opportunity eventually, regardless of Will Keane. But what if? Moving on to the next one. So we've done the good, now the bad. People in the comments, don't forget to join in. You've been a bit quiet today because the question for the bad is awesome today. I'm expecting some good answers on this one. But the bad is our defensive dilemma, lads. Lindelof and Maguire in particular. It's not really working. You know what I mean? They're not. just don't look good together. You know what I mean? They're not a cheese and ham sandwich, are they? They're not something tasty. They're not nice. They're not a gin and tonic. They're not, mate.
They're not a cheese and ham sandwich.
I love cheese and ham.
That's great.
But you know what I mean? There's this talk of Mengi, Tuanzebe, Bailly, but still there's nothing that's gonna come good in the next 3 to 6 months, is there? You know what I mean? You might as well play fucking cheese and ham in defence and see how they do. But lads, what's your take on Lindelof and Maguire? And even if you want to extend a bit further on who you think should come in as well. Flawless, come to you first, okay?
To me, it's not a dilemma because these two don't work. We know they don't work. Like whether you think Lindelof and Maguire are good individually enough, good as individuals, that's a whole separate argument. But between them two as a partnership, there's no pace there. I think all of us would agree on it, and most United fans think Maguire is the better defender. What's Maguire's major weakness? Pace. So the smart thing to do is put a centre-back next to him who's quick. I don't understand why this is an issue. We've seen Lindelof and Maguire not work for months. It's not like the game against Crystal Palace was the first time they've been exposed. It happened all throughout last season. We've seen Lindelof and/or Maguire make mistakes. So to me, it's not a dilemma. Clearly, you play. Maguire looks better when Bailly's next to him because Bailly has pace. Like football, especially centre-backs as well, it's all about partnerships. So what my weakness is should be your strength and vice versa. And it doesn't work. So it's like, play Bailly. If Bailly's not fit, you play Axel. If Axel's not fit, you play Mengi. Because you don't play, especially in today's game when all the attackers are all about pace. All attacks, whether it's Liverpool, City, United as well. It's like, what I want to know is what United are doing in training. If Lindelof and Maguire up against Rashford, Martial and Greenwood, I'm sure these things happen in training. So surely they see that there's a lack of pace there. And then when you've got Luke Shaw at left back, who is also not quick. So the only person you have with any pace is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So play Bailly next to him. Like there was a point in the game yesterday when it got chipped over into the left-hand side channel that went over Maguire's head. Maguire wasn't out of position or anything. And Bailly sprinted over, got there and made a slide tackle. If Lindelof's there, that doesn't happen. And not because Lindelof's not good enough. He's just not quick enough to get over there. So it's like, to me, it's not a dilemma. And this is where Ollie, to me, gets away with murder. We see these two don't work, yet you continue to play these two. Just drop him and just play. I hope that Bailly and Maguire start on the weekend, but we'll see.
With Bailly, it's obviously we all know that he's made of glass. It's keeping him fit, isn't it? But he has got that pace. You know what I mean? And you spot on what you say about in training as well. Is there not one point in training where Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood are skinning the fuck out of Maguire and Lindelof all the time, and they're going, "Yes, tell you what, we should probably change this. We should get somebody with a bit of speed who can keep up with these players." Mad.
And it's nothing to do with the UEFA A or B license. It's nothing to do. You don't need a UEFA A or B license to figure that out. It's like just play him next to pace. Because now Maguire looks worse. Because Maguire looks so much better when Bailly's next to him. And like you said there, Bailly obviously is very injury prone. Well, then that's the case. Play Axel. If that's the case, play Mengi. Just don't play Lindelof and Maguire together because it does not work. But we'll see. Hopefully he changes it.
I can completely understand why Solskjaer is going with Lindelof because Bailly's just never fit. We covered that to death. There's no point going into that. I do think Bailly's a better centre half than Lindelof, and anyone who doesn't is just wrong. But the thing is, if you go down the second line, Tuanzebe, he's injury prone as well and doesn't have as much experience as the rest of them too. So it's hard to really trust in him as well because you don't know exactly what he'd be like as a first team starter with the top 6 Premier League club. And then Mengi's just too young. We don't even know anything about him. I've barely seen the highlight reels of him, so it's hard to really know how good he is. It's a fact of and then after that, are you going to play Jones or Rojo? No, not a hope. So the only 2 players he can trust in that are going to start, that he knows won't get injured, that he can start are Maguire and Lindelof. Now the problem is with that, we don't want Lindelof in that position. We want another centre back, and that person we all want, I think, is Bailly. Even though I would say Bailly is a bit more reckless, but I do still overall say he's a better centre half. But unfortunately, he just can't. You can't trust him for a whole season. So
and you can't. True.
Yeah, true. And then with that, I think if you were able to have him game by game by game, I think I do fully believe that Solskjaer, like his starting pair is Maguire and Bailly, but it's just a case of like I'd say he's also going like if the club are definitely going if we can get 30 million for Bailly in a transfer window, we're going to have to get rid of him because at the moment he's just a wage packet that plays maybe like 20 games a season and then is out for more and you're still paying him. So I do think it's a case of like if they get rid of him and get someone else in, I think they will go for that. But unfortunately, it's not going to work out like that. I would love if Bailly was the first centre half alongside Maguire, then Lindelof would play relief games like that, and then Mengi and Tanzabi would be coming through. That's like ideal for me, and that's why I think they're not going out for a centre half. But like, I don't see how that's going to work for the whole season, unfortunately.
Just a little one on. Go on, Flawless, mate.
No, I was just gonna say, I get what you were saying there, Joe. In regards to everything I disagree with is the Meng. Like to me, obviously Mengi's young. We don't know a lot about him, but he can't be any worse than Lindelof. I would play him, and if he was bad, then you put Lindelof back in. Like,
but Flawless.
Sorry,
man. I really don't mean to interrupt you. But like, if he's bad at that age, if he has like 2 or 3 games that absolutely destroy his confidence, like that's so important. Then I think it's much better to bring him in. If we're 3-0 up, give him 15 minutes. If we're playing, like I guess Luton was more of an important game than we wanted it to be. If we beat Palace 3-1 at the weekend instead of losing, I'd say Mengi would have started alongside Bailly maybe. But the fact that we needed that game, I think it's fine, especially for centre half. Don't let him get roasted. Just let him play whenever it suits the team to have a less experienced centre half in it.
Yeah,
that's a fair point. I get what you're saying.
I know we're not talking about central defensive midfield, but Matic, I like this comment. Matic does bring so much calmness to the team. I can completely agree with you there, dude. Just a little point on Mengi. I had the pleasure of talking with Ryan Dinoff in RH Elite Coaching. You know, he's like coach like what he does one-on-one coaching with like Stephen Ireland and Bruno and Dallo and that. He's had Mengi and he said he's an absolute tank. He said he's a unit. He said the ball at his feet for a defender and the speed he's got is unbelievable. And he's only 18, so he expects him to be an absolute monster of a central defender. And I've got a lot of faith in RH, up the RH. So
yeah. Next time you're speaking to him, would you mind saying that when he's talking to Stephen Ireland, just say, come over here for a second. And when he gets really close, just tell him to punch him in the stomach. Just once or twice, and then a little knee to the face. And then just say, that's from Ireland, okay?
Yeah.
Not just from me, from the entire country.
And over here in England, we don't condone violence, but you know what the Irish are like. Absolutely.
We're mad for it.
James, we've got to you eventually, mate. If you can remember the question. It's how do you feel about the central pairing at the back?
Well, I've had enough time to plan my answer, so there's no pressure there, is there? I think there's a bit of recency bias coming into this, Lindelof slander. I think the season before Maguire came in, he was one of our best players. You know, they gave him the nickname the Iceman because he was so cool at the back. He was easily our best centre back, and I think, as I'll admit, he's not good enough for the standard that we want to be. Him and Maguire aren't going to win us a Premier League at all. I've got no faith in them. But your other option is Eric Bailly, who on his day can be an incredible centre back. He's got that speed, he's got that aggression, but he's also incredibly reckless. He's got a goal. He's got a goal costing mistake in him every single game, and that's what worries me about him. But yeah, I think that we did sort of. Lindelof was unlucky against Palace because obviously it's the first game of the season. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny on you, regardless. Everyone's tuning in, and I think he was very exposed by the players in front of him. I think McTominay and Pogba as a partnership do not work at all. You know, McTominay's not a holding midfielder, so they're both players that want to be either box to box or more attacking. I think McTominay is a defensive midfielder who's not very good at being a defensive midfielder. That's the problem. So yeah, if you bring Matic into that back line, I don't think we concede 3, and I don't think this whole conversation about whether the centre backs are good enough or not goes on. Obviously, he wasn't helped by the fact that next to him was Timothy Fosu-Mensah, who I'm convinced got his contract out the bottom of a Frosties packet. I've got no idea how he's a United player. But yeah, if Wan-Bissaka and Matic are in that team, then it's debatable whether we even lose that game. I don't think we concede 3 anyway. So then your problem is that you're getting caught out by Luke Shaw on the other side. We saw that for their first goal. He's not good enough defensively. And then the problem goes further into the board. You know, you're going to invest in a fullback like Alex Telles, who has even less defensive ability. if we bring Alex Telles in, as good as he'll be going forward, these defenders are going to get found out even more. They've got no pace to cover for him down that left-hand side. And it just makes no sense to me that we're going out and signing an attacking left-back without addressing the centre-back issue at the same time, you know. If anything, I said it recently, I don't know whether it's a very popular opinion or not, but I think if the Jadon Sancho move stagnated too much now, I think we spend that money trying to get, say, an Upamecano to come in with Alex Telles, and that back line's as good as sorted. I think Maguire, yes, he's our captain, but he's not good enough either, really. But yeah, I think the money's got to go somewhere else if we're not signing Sancho, and I think that's where it should go. So.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, hopefully that was good enough for the time I was given to prepare.
That was plenty good enough. There's some great points, especially about Alex Telles. Yeah, flawless.
You have plenty of time. Debatable. No, I'm joking. I'm playing.
Some cracking points about Alex Telles as well. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have the pace to cover him. He is an attacking player. He just likes to get forward. He's dangerous when he does that. He's fantastic at what he does, but we don't have the cover right now in place to be bringing in a player like that. I just want to have a quick look at this. Sports gossip talks about Lindelof being a defensive midfielder. He potentially could be, to be quite honest. But you keep shouting out Neil Ashton's Red Army. I don't even know who Neil Ashton is. I've just Googled him. He's a Welsh semi-pro player who plays for Sefton Droids or something like that.
Neil Ashton is he used to present, and now he's what is it now? He's like
a Super 8.
Media for United or something like that. Something like that. Yeah.
He's the one who orchestrated Ed Woodward's house getting attacked a couple of months ago.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Nah, mate, I don't know who that is. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you. You'll know his face because he used, like I said, I think he used to present on TV, and now he's like United's PR team or something like. He heads that up, like their PR team and stuff like that. Yeah,
he comes from the Sun.
And what?
He's from the Sun. I don't mean like the body, but like the actual.
Right, buzzing. Right, the question. Join in. There we go. Yeah, sports gossips. The PR agent for Man United. Yeah, mate. Cheers, dude. I thought if you Google Neil Ashton football, it comes up with this semi-professional player who plays for Sefton Druids in the Welsh Premier League, and I was like, "Who the fuck's that, mate?" The question is 2 questions this week for the bad. So get involved in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button. But the question is, I'll come to James first on this one. Who is the worst? Yeah, no time to think this time, man. Straight at you. Who is the worst defender we've ever had? And if Maguire and Lindelof are a shit sandwich, what kind of shit sandwich are they? So I'll come to you, James.
I mean, I'm only 19. I don't know about in the history. I can only speak from my experience. But, you know, I don't know whether it's serious or not, but I'd throw Ashley Young in there. I don't think I ever saw him make a tackle, despite playing left back for the majority of his United career. Phil Jones has got to go in with a shout. At least, pretty big shout, to be fair. Rojo has had a couple of decent games here and there, but overall he's not good enough. I'm trying to think back. You go from the Rio Ferdinand and Vidic era straight to Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. It's a bit depressing, isn't it? I've only ever really known Vidic and Ferdinand. So from my personal experience, I'd go Phil Jones, because I can't really think of anyone else that I could say I've watched personally. And I
kind of felt Phil Jones might get a couple of mentions or at least one.
Yeah.
What about shit sandwich? Have you put any thought into a shit sandwich? If Maguire and Lindelof were a shit sandwich, what shit sandwich would they be?
I think anecdotally, I think my sister used to eat mashed potato sandwiches and they were horrendous. So I'm going to put them as a mashed potato and ketchup sandwich.
Oh, mate. Yeah, to be fair, just anecdotally, the likening to how disgusting that is and what we've had to view is bang on. Mashed potato and red. Oh, man, that's horrible, that is.
Oh, I know.
Does she still eat them?
No, but she still gets stick for it, don't worry.
Yeah, good. You never forget that kind of shit. Flawless, mate. What are you saying? Who's the worst defender you've seen at Old Trafford in your life? And if Maguire and Lindelof were a shit sandwich, what sandwich would they be?
In terms of the sandwiches, they're terrible. You know when you just get them corner shop sandwiches that nobody ever buys. I've never seen anyone buy one of these type of things, like a coronation chicken or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? Them sandwiches that be in corner shop. So just pick one. Just go into your local corner shop, have a look at the sandwiches, and pick a flavor. Yeah, pick a filling. In terms of worst defenders at Manchester United, yeah, it has to be Phil Jones. It really has to be Phil Jones. Unless someone in the comments I want to use can tell me someone worse. Here's how bad Phil Jones is. He doesn't even play, and he gets criticized still like he plays a lot. When's the last time we've seen him? I can't remember legit the last time he's been on the pitch, yet he still gets mentioned and criticized like he plays week in, week. Oh, he's awful. He's awful. And he knows how bad he is as well. I feel like, obviously, his 10-year anniversary came up and he's due a testimonial. And supposedly he said, I wouldn't do it because only my mum and dad would show up. So he knows how bad of a player and what Manchester United fans think of him. So, yeah, I go with Phil Jones. No questions asked.
Phil Jones again and a coronation chicken sandwich. Flawless. He lived right corner from me, Phil Jones, in Leyland. And I know a few lads his age who played football with him, and they all said they were well shocked when he got took on at Old Trafford. Like, they were like, he wasn't even fucking best player in the year. You know what I mean? Mad as fuck. Joe, evening, Nicole. How are you doing, lovely? You've joined us at a good time, Nicole, because we've just talked about our defensive dilemma, and the question for the good, the bad, and the ugly for the bad section is who's the worst defender you've ever seen at Old Trafford? And if Matic and Lindelof were a shit sandwich, what kind of shit sandwich would they be? Joe, it's your turn.
Just so James doesn't get upset, it's Maguire and Lindelof. It's a shit sandwich, not Matic. Yeah. Don't forget Matic is James's player of the year, so we don't know.
Maguire and Lindelof shit sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
We're absolutely clenched then.
The shit sandwich, I'm going to go with the family one, and take my inspiration from James. My younger brother used to have a coleslaw sandwich. Just coleslaw and white bread. I don't know if that's a regular thing anyone's ever had, but I always hate the smell of it. And I work in a kitchen, and the worst order I ever got for a sandwich, I didn't make it. One of the chefs was onion and mayonnaise.
What?
So, yeah, onion and mayonnaise.
Wait, what? Onion and mayonnaise?
Onion and mayonnaise. So, each one of them are a separate, description of each centre back, and them together is the shit sandwich. And the player, someone said not Phil Spector, Jonathan Spector. He was crap, but he also scored an own goal for us when we came back from 2-0 down against Hull. So, thanks for that. But my worst one is going to be, I don't know if you'll probably remember him, Rusty, Ronnie Wallwork.
I quite like Ronnie Wallwork.
I remember Ronnie Wallwork. Wow.
Sorry, Paul. Sorry. No, literally the only reason I have never seen him play. I remember getting his sticker in a sticker book, and I immediately did not like him. And then I remember we sold him to Middlesbrough, and he scored against us when we got knocked out in the third round of the FA Cup in 2002. So ever since then, I'm like, you're a prick. Even though I've never seen him play, I didn't like his photo, and he just scored against us. So that's basically where my thought process is.
Who was it who had the onion and mayonnaise sandwich?
It was a patient.
A patient. Well, that patient and James's sister need to fuck off to some desert island and eat their shit together. They
could have been the same person.
Mate, I love Flawless's laugh. It's beautiful.
That's funny.
Getting say William Prunier saws Phil, and rightly so, because he had the worst ever. I think he was voted the worst ever player to play for United because he played 2 games on loan, maybe 1 game, and got sent back because he was proper dog shit. Tyler Blackett was as well. Good shout.
Oh, Tyler Blackett, yeah, he got sent off against. Oh, that was awful. He got sent off against Leicester.
Yeah,
game that was so bad, and he was supposed to be the future. But Prunier, he was the bald French guy in the mid-90s, wasn't he?
Yeah, bald French guy, yeah.
Oh, Jesus, he was awful. Yeah.
Mine, I'll give you mine. I'll give you my player first, then my shit sandwich. My player is Alexandra Butner. I just thought he was awful. And for the longevity that he had at Old Trafford, he spent 2 years at Old Trafford. He was awful at going back. I think if I can remember rightly from memory, I bet there's a collage or like a reel out there on YouTube of him. He used to fall over a lot, like running after players, trip over his own fucking feet. He was useless, and he will go down as one of Ferguson's worst ever buys. To be fair, right, my shit sandwich. I'm gonna have to put myself on solo screen for this because I've got a picture of my shit sandwich. This is what I think. If Maguire and Lindelof were a shit sandwich, this is the shit sandwich I think they would be. It's got to be that, hasn't it? You know what I mean? Tuna. What, mate? What? What's that? Tuna what? Right, them two entities on their own, quite well desired entities put together. Shit sandwich.
I hear your man loves them.
You know what I mean? I'm getting banned for this channel, I reckon, but never mind.
Yeah, definitely. Man said separately, two desired entities together, not so much so. That is brilliant. You deserve a raise. This is brilliant, bro.
Whoa! I can't believe that should be one of the clips that he does. You know, when Ben Pearce puts it out on Twitter, just me talking about a tuna and cum sandwich. Right, moving on to the final section. We've had the good, we've had the bad. Now it's the ugly. The ugly is this nasty little virus that's just spreading all over the world, and it's called COVID. What can anybody else see? What that just says like this here now, just like loads of little boxes. Is it laughing faces?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's laughing emojis. Yeah, it's laughing emojis.
What do you think they are?
Mine just comes up in little square boxes, like little envillopes. Like, because I don't know, I must have that shit computer.
Rusty's still on Windows 95, isn't he?
Yeah.
Still playing Minecraft. Not Minecraft. What's the Mind Blower? What's the one?
Yeah, Minesweep.
Minesweep. Yeah.
That's taking people's drinks, isn't it? Right, so the ugly COVID is rearing its ugly head again. The lockdown has been tightened. We can't. You can go to a pub with 30 people, but you can't go and see your nan kind of shit. I don't know what's going on, but what it has done, it's put a stop to any hope and expectation of United having any kind of crowd. They were thinking about bringing 12 to 17,000 fans back, weren't they? And they put out a press release about an hour after Boris to say, sad news, we're not going to be able to do it. It looks like it's going to be another 6 months before we get anybody in the ground. So it is ugly. It's horrible. It's not what we want to see, because I want to get back to Old Trafford. I'm sure you boys want to get back to Old Trafford. What's your feelings about it all? Is it the right decision now to just say, like, listen, no, we can't have fans in. Just deal with it. Let's look after the nation first, and eventually we will get people back in Old Trafford. I'll come to you first, Mr. Flawless.
Here's the thing with it. I understand why they've done it if we are quote unquote going into this second lockdown. But what's the end game? Like, if there's no cure for this, is everything just gonna stop like forever? Because it doesn't seem to be like if you go for a COVID test and you have COVID, then they just say isolate for 14 days. So you're not given anything. It's not like you're taking a tablet. You're not taking anything for it. So what is the end game with this? Like, are we just never ever going to be able to go to football again? Obviously, I want to get back to Old Trafford, get back to away games. But yeah, that's what I would like to know. But obviously, the government, I didn't even watch like Boris's speech, but from my social media, people were just saying he was talking a whole load of shit. So it's kind of like, I don't understand. We can go to why pubs and stuff are shut at 10. Like, does the coronavirus only attack at nighttime? Like, what is going on? Like, it just confuses me. That's what it is. It's all confusing, and there doesn't seem to be any end goal with it. Like, what's the short term solution? What's the long term solution? There doesn't seem to be either. All right, we're gonna go in this lockdown for say 2-3 months, and then open back up for the same thing to happen. Then we have to go into a third lockdown, then a fourth lockdown. Like, it's all a mess. You know what I mean? The government running the country like how the board run United. It's just bad all around.
Nah. Completely agree with you, Flawless. Like Skem thinks that COVID is 5G towers. All right, mate. Yeah, well, I love a good conspiracy, mate. If you've got any other ones, bang them in the comments. You know, if you've got any like Twin Towers kind of conspiracy, or that pigeons are taking over the world, anything, just let me know, mate. But yeah, Flawless. When's enough? When's the pub thing gets me. It's funny, isn't it, that where COVID only comes out at night or something, like just haunts your dreams, like fucking Freddy Krueger or something. I don't know. But it's mental, isn't it? You can sit in a pub. And they could be in a short space, like with the walls are closed in. There could be like 60, 70 people in there, but you can't go to a 75,000 seat stadium and be spread out with only 12,000 of you. That baffles me.
Yeah.
James, what's your take on it, mate? How are you feeling?
I'm not too upset about the whole United aspect of it. It's a little bit of less. I think they lose 5 million for every home game that they don't have fans in, which to the Glazers is nothing. It's going to take a little bit out of our transfer budget, I assume, but that's not the end of the world. The thing I'm worried about, so I've got a part of a media team for a Step 3 club. I'm really worried about the non-league aspect of this and how it affects that, because a lot of teams struggle to survive the first lockdown. I think you go into another lockdown that's similar, you're not going to have many non-league teams left, and that's when you really sort of look into it, that's sort of the heart and soul of British football. And I think if you take that away, the complete structure of football in England is really disrupted, and that's going to have a knock-on effect all the way up. So I don't know what the plan is to help them out, whether bigger clubs are going to start financially helping them, or the FA themselves are going to donate some prize money that taken out of the FA Cup or something like that. I've got no idea, but I think as United fans, we need to look at the bigger picture and stop being sort of so selfish about it. Yes, we're going to lose a bit of transfer money, but these clubs are in danger of never existing again. So I think that's the bigger issue here.
Yeah, 100%, James. I think Gainer's comment kind of like reiterates what you're saying there. And it is, as a big club, we shouldn't be selfish when you've got like lower league clubs, even like Championship, League One clubs, League Two clubs, who could just be decimated completely by this. And when you think about the lower league clubs, even though it's the community for us as well, it's even probably a closer community for them. You know what I mean? Like small towns where everybody kind of knows everybody's name and they've got a postman pat and stuff like that. They're gonna be really affected financially and as a community, mentally for them. It must be a massive struggle and a worry. So yeah, we need to stop being fucking selfish and just get on with it. I completely hear you, Mr. Joe. I don't know. Obviously, give us your take on it over and how it affects you over there as well.
Yeah, look, speaking on what James was saying as well, actually, even if you're looking in the area of Greater Manchester, you can see that Bolton were nearly gone. Bury are gone. Macclesfield look like they're going. So it's very. I can't imagine what's going forward. Like, who gives a flying fuck if you're in the Premier League or even in the Championship? This will affect you, but it'll affect everyone around you. You'll get through it. But anything going down, and that's a lot. The majority of people involved in football are from, League One down. There's a lot of livelihoods going to be lost. A lot of, family, going out and watching the football are going to be gone. A lot of clubs, a lot of communities are going to be destroyed by this. So, it's scary. That's kind of it. And then over here, I'm affected differently because I'm in, I work in a hospital. So I see, on the ground floor how people are, dying from this. And that's just kind of it. But also I'm a writer and an actor and stuff like that. My industry is taking a huge hit too. So across the board, it's awful. But all we can do is just stay together and be just work through the fucking thing and hope a vaccine or whatever comes in and we don't have to worry about it in a couple of years' time. And hopefully as many lives aren't lost and as many businesses and industries are as unaffected as they possibly can be. But there has to be a system put in place. The FA are an absolute joke over there. And the PFA, anyone who's I know I was reading up on, I think it was Ian Wright, but I could be wrong, but saying what they do for ex-players is just horrendous. So for the PFA especially, they don't do anything. Once you're retired and you're not a name, they don't give a shit about you. So this is the time for them to stand up and be counted and to do everything they can for the lower clubs. And it's up to, you might say they have no obligation, but Man United, Man City, Leeds, I know they're not in Manchester, but Liverpool, these big clubs, they need to help the clubs around them. Just bite the bullet and donate, because you guys get these big clubs can afford it, but the little clubs can't. So fucking do something about it.
Also, mate, Yeah, I'm the same boat as you. Obviously, with acting, I don't act. I do stand-up comedy. Like I had 2 gigs this week, and one of them's already been cancelled just off the back of Boris Maker's announcement. So that's an absolute pain in the ass. Another thing as well, Joe. Have you been on sunbed, mate? You look like got a bit of a tan going on there, Mush.
I'm in my sister's house. Were you mixing me up with Flawless, maybe? I'm in my sister's house. And I don't know what it is, but the way the light shines off it makes me look like 40% more attractive. So I'm going to go from here.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's that Tinder glow. That's what it is, man. It's that Tinder glow. That's what it is.
The newly matched glow.
Yes, it's newly matched glow. That's it. That's it.
Swear down, mate. Take some more Tinder pictures while you're there, because you're going to get way more swipe rights under that light than you are in your home light, mate. Get it done. Brown Knight says all EPL and EFL stadiums should have a section in the stands that carry sponsors for lower league clubs. The ads get airtime, so whatever is raised for them goes to help nearby grassroots clubs. Great idea, Brown Knight, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you could throw that on. I don't know how big your voice is, Brown Knight. If you could throw it out over social media or send emails to clubs and give them that kind of idea, what an idea that is, lads. Very good idea. It just got really deep then, really fast, didn't it? That never happens on this show. So let's line it up, right? Let's get back to the real business. Obviously, Old Trafford, no atmosphere, bit like the Etihad Stadium. What is the worst atmosphere at a stadium that you have ever come across or encountered? I'll come to you first, Mr. Joe.
Yeah, so my one is... it's like every great story. It's all about me. Myself and my family, we do a charity football game along with this kind of mini music festival that we run every year called O'Neill's October Sesh. We did it in Manchester in Bury, I think 3 years ago, and we do it in a different location every year. I have a very big family. Different member of the family hosts it every year. But over the past couple of years, we do a football match every Saturday morning, and we have our own trophy. We play it on a local ground, wherever it is. Like, crowds get big and they come around and watch it. A lot of people are hungover from the night before. Most of them are playing. But one year we tend to win. It tends to be in dramatic fashions, but we tend to win. But this one year we got absolutely trashed, like absolutely annihilated. And I've never seen my family turn so quickly. We had about 50 people on the sideline. They had chants against me. They were screaming. They were like, everything that went in, the abuse that was coming from my mother's mouth, I'd never heard it before in my entire life. And not since I was a child. It was
you're not my son.
Yes, you wouldn't believe, like, everything and anything. So that was the worst atmosphere, as in pointed right at me, that I've ever experienced. But luckily, the following year we won. So everyone was back on side then. But it was 1 year. We had a 1 year dip, and never again. But
that's a mad story, that, mate.
Yeah.
What's that for again? Who's it for? For charity or something?
We do every year for charity. Whoever hosts it and whatever place we're hosting it in, it's usually for a local charity. Where was it last year? This year we were supposed to be in like on my dad's side. We're all musicians. Supposed to be in the hometown Athy, which is about 40 minutes from me now, and we've had to cancel it. And it was my granddad's 100th birthday. He's passed away 30 years, but it was going to be his 100th birthday. That was all going to be put together. It was all perfect, and then COVID hit. And my dad was hosting it, but he's not complaining. Just the way it goes, unfortunately, and we'll hopefully make up for it. So we won't get a match this year, but hopefully we'll get it soon.
Yeah, mate. I'm getting sorry that again. Joe goes with the different every time. He puts the curveball in, doesn't he?
Has to be fucking done.
Flawless. What we're saying, mate. What's the worst atmosphere in international football that you've ever been to, mate?
The worst atmosphere in terms of regards, because the majority of the matches I've been to have been at Old Trafford. So the atmosphere, regardless of the result, the atmosphere is always rocking. The Stretford end, whether I'm stood in there or not, is always jumping. So the atmosphere is never dead. Probably the worst atmosphere I've probably been to. It was a game a couple of years ago when United, we got beat away at Goodison 4-0. And obviously United fans were unhappy because we were getting beat 4-0. But the Everton fans were quiet. And then they got to the point where the United fans, we were all singing 4-0 and you still don't sing. So I would say that was a strange atmosphere because they were up 4-0 and we were still out singing them. And it's like, how you still not sing? Like, we didn't stop. Like, after it went like 3-0 down, United fans were clearly, we were like fed up. But then we started singing, like, you know, we're fucking shit and all that type of stuff. Well, Everton fans just didn't sing for the whole game. And it's like, they dominated the game, won 4-0. So I would say, yeah, that was, even though I personally enjoyed it, because we just got to shout abuse at Scousers for an hour and a half, which was great. Minus that, it's like, yeah, Everton fans, yeah, they just didn't sing. So yeah, I'd go with that. Goodison.
But I'm shocked about that. I've been Goodison a few times. I've probably been Goodison. It's probably the place I've been like the second most in my life, like apart from Old Trafford. And unless you get stuck behind one of them fucking stanchions, I usually find that it's like a really good atmosphere. It reminds me of a similar one. This isn't my story that I'm going to tell you about mine in a minute, but it reminds me once when United were at Preston North End, just that road for me. Preston a championship team, but they had 25,000 in, and it was just dead. And we were singing that. Can we sing a song for you? And we started singing P&A, 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 because there was just nothing going on. Madness, mate.
Can we sing a song for you? That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I love that. Can we sing a song for you?
Quiet. It was unbelievable.
I was actually I'm going to come in now. I have a real one. I was at an NYCFC game before, and we had the same thing where we had to chant for them. And I had my cousin Jack there, who is like a seasoned like football attendee. Unfortunately, I'm not. And he was just teaching them all chants, and they were just shit, and they were American, and I hated them. Anyway.
True, mate. Fair enough. Yeah. I'm going to come to that one in a minute, in fact, about something similar. James, what about yourself? Most worst game you've ever been to? What atmosphere?
I've got two that sort of are very well tied. I think last year I went to Old Trafford on my birthday for the Carabao Cup tie against Colchester. I think we won 3-0 in the end, but I think there was probably less than half of the stadium full. It was very much a sort of United giving cheap discounted tickets to tourists, that sort of game where no one was really there to as a passionate fan. They were there to say they were at Old Trafford. I think Colchester completely sold out their ticket allocation and just embarrassed the United fans atmosphere-wise. You know, all you could hear for 90 minutes was Colchester. So that's the only United game I've been to where the atmosphere has been poor. But probably the worst atmosphere I've been to is in my hometown. So I go and watch Nottingham Forest fairly frequently. I'm doing a Mark Goldbridge here and supporting Forest and United, but not last season, the season before, it was a pretty barren season. Finished about mid-table, never really challenging for anything. And I think last game of the season we played Bolton Wanderers when they hadn't. I don't think they'd paid the staff for about 5 months. Everyone was on their way out. I think they played their under-18s pretty much. And it was just a proper last day of the season sort of game when there was nothing to lose. They were already down. Then Forest won 1-0 against Bolton's under-18s. So the fans weren't happy anyway. A lot of them were very frustrated, and that came across in the atmosphere. But that was surprising as well, because the City Ground's a very old stadium. It traps noise very well, and the atmosphere is usually electric in there. But that day, yeah. The frustration was told by the noise. It wasn't great to sit through at all.
Yeah, two shockers for me there with City Ground and Goodison Park, because they're both very similar grounds. They're really close. What's happened to Flawless there, mate? The two very compact grounds with the fans over top of you, and you expect it to be banging and absolutely like fantastic atmosphere. So that's a bit upsetting for me, that, to be fair. Like, I'm not going to go to City Ground now based on that experience. But mine will be a bit of a shocker for people, for the guests and for people in the comments. Mine was a San Siro. AC, mate, honestly, I was expecting big things. I was expecting, like, you know, the greatest atmosphere I've ever seen. It might have been the game I went to. It wasn't obviously the Milan derby. I went to AC Milan versus Chivos just over in Milan on holiday. There was a game on, so I thought, I'll tell you what, can't miss that. Got to go. So I went there. It was shite. It was like a pantomime. They had an MC. They had cheerleaders. These like countdowns for substitutes coming on. It blows my mind. It was like American football. Honestly, it was like the Super Bowl. I was half expecting at half time fucking Britney Spears to come on, start singing "Hit Me One Bit, Baby, One More Time," have a breakdown and start shaving her hair. It was the best thing about it. best thing about it was I went with a girl I was with at the time, and we took a few selfies, as you do. We took one selfie, and there were 3 Italian lads sat behind us in the first selfie. They were all like that, looking forward. Second selfie, they were like that. And I didn't know until I got back to England. Just like looking, I was like, "Fucking hell, we've been proper photobombed by some AC Milan fans here," and that was the highlight of it. The game was all right. Torres bagged the goal. I think Milan won 2, AC Milan won 2-1. But the atmosphere, it was, and the stadium was like, I reckon, I don't know what it holds, I'd say, 60,000, something like that. It was half full. It was shit, mate.
Yeah,
so that for me, guys. Been a great show. Really enjoyed it once again. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to James. Thanks to Flawless. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe. Come back next week. I think we're changing until a Monday next week. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll be on it. Getting out of here. See you later, guys. Take care. Bye bye.